Alright everyone, well let's continue this Halloween Horror Fest with this time a movie review. And this is on one that came out months ago and obviously, as you know, has already been on Blu-ray for a couple of months. And that is the sequel to what I thought was one of the best horror films of 2018, A Quiet Place, which was John Krasinski's directorial debut, as well as starring him and his real-life wife, who also plays his wife in the movie, Emily Blunt, as well as a couple of kids who obviously aren't really their children, but they do a great job too. And it's dialogueless because, well, for a good reason, because just check out my review for that one. I don't have to explain it. It did a great job, even though it left itself on rather a cliffhanger note, and so I expected a sequel, which is what we got, and I expected it to pick up from there. So, as you know, this sequel, I was a bit skeptical on it. Horror film sequels are a gamble. You never know what you're going to get, and very rarely do they actually pull the magic hat trick, but occasionally Hollywood can do such a thing. And with this film, surprisingly, they actually did. Yeah, with the same guy, John Krasinski, making his return as a director, as well as starring in this, which may leave you a bit confused, and might I say, spoiler alert for any of you who haven't seen either one of these movies. Yeah, I'm probably going to go into spoiler territory, so if you don't want spoilers, turn the video off right now, unless you don't care about spoilers. Otherwise, yes. As you know what happens to his character in the first movie, and you probably are a bit confused with how the hell is he in the second one, if you saw the trailer. Well, that is because the first 10 minutes is the only part of the movie where you see him in it, and it's a prologue scene of day one. Which is clever. That works. It shows how everything started when all hell broke loose. Once these alien creatures known as the Death Angels, yes, that's what they're actually known as. Once again, I can't stress how much they're not exactly the most creative looking creatures, but this is just my opinion. I mean, seriously, are Signs and Alien, the one starring Sigourney Weaver, really the only cool design for them? Or is it just me? But anyway, yes. They take over the world. Obviously, they're attracted to people by sound. They're blind, but they have really good hearing. And the one thing I will say about this one over the first one is there's a lot more actual spoken dialogue and sound, because if you saw the end of the first one, they already identify their weakness, so it definitely takes the step forward into making it a worthy sequel, and it does just that. Yeah, they actually make a really good sequel. In fact, in some parts, even better than the first one, might I dare say. Not that I'm trying to crap on the first one, but this is a necessary sequel that takes the necessary step and bringing it into a much bigger and more suspenseful and much more, might I say, action-packed adventure even. So, yeah. First 10 minutes or so, prologue scene, and then title comes up, and then from then on it's a sequel. Emily Blunt and the rest of the kids return, and believe me, they serve more than their purpose in this one. Obviously, the same house and farm from the first movie makes a return in this, which, as you probably know from my review of that film, is located up in Pawling, New York, and I just so happen to have visited the location. As well as the walking bridge, which in real life is the Wallkill Valley Rail Trail located in New Paltz, New York. But the thing is, the farm and that bridge are not in this movie for that long. The farm and house are only in there for the first couple minutes after the opening titles of the movie, and the walking bridge, well, it only makes it in there for about one scene during the middle of the movie. The rest of the time, they go into new locations which are more scattered around the Buffalo area in real life, which I got no problem with, but visiting those locations in comparison to these is out of the question. But yeah, they go to new locations, the rundown and post-apocalyptic look type of world, it's done and shot so well once again. The suspense is all there, and they're on the run trying to find new locations and uncover, possible survivors, and they come across one of our other newest main characters, who's played by Cillian Murphy. You probably know him as the Scarecrow from the Dark Knight trilogy and a bunch of other Christopher Nolan movies. He does a great job, and he goes along with the daughter through new territory, and, well, through some rather freakish encounters. They go through uncharted territory and uncover even more secrets, leading to more suspense, and definitely, as I said, takes the necessary step forward by using the character logic that it knows it has properly. In other words, it doesn't just rehash the same ideas from the first movie. It comes up with ideas of its own while seeming rather familiar. And knowing that they obviously have identified the alien's weakness plays a big part in this movie, I mean, there's scenes in this movie that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And that's really what this movie does. It really kept me invested for the whole time. So compared to the first one, which is more slower paced and everything, this one is just has a lot more to it, making it a great sequel. So, yeah, John Krasinski, you did a great job making a fantastic sequel. I mean, you're on pretty much the James Wan level of horror film sequel directors. I mean, compared to The Conjuring 2 and a bunch of other ones like James Cameron's Aliens, that's pretty much what I compare this one to. The only downside is that, well, it once again leaves itself on a cliffhanger like the first one, but I guess maybe they're just trying to hint a third movie possibly. Yeah, it could happen, and I have read that it's in the works for the near future. But in the meantime, yes, this was a very worthy second part, and not to mention this was the first movie that I saw in the theater since the big COVID shutdown. Yep, let me tell you, it felt great, and it also wouldn't be the last one I would see in theater. There's plenty more that I'm going to go see, but, yep, obviously I took the proper precautions and everything like that, you know, mask and social distancing and everything like that, but let me tell you, it's gotten a lot better. And yes, this movie obviously was originally supposed to come out last year, but due to COVID, that obviously didn't happen. So, in other words, this is a great sequel. Once again, the characters definitely show their strong side. The suspense is great. The aliens, as I mentioned, may not be the most creative looking designs, but they're pretty badass, and the movie itself definitely shows what happens when aliens can hunt based off sound. So, if you like the first one, definitely go check out this one. Even if you didn't like the first one, you should still give it a watch. It's worth at least one watch for good suspense, action, horror, you name it. So, my final verdict is rocking Wii Remote Wii Motion Plus up and the playing Wii Remote up. I think that's a pretty fair rating right there. May not be as high as you expect, but trust me, it's really good. So, till next time, keep watching.